Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. Okay, we are seeing the Hermit and also Knight of Swords. Starting off with the Hermit is about you looking into something. Whatever this is that you're looking into, it seems like information is about to find you. But it may come at a time when you're not... So Hermit can be sort of when you're tucked away, so it can be like you're not on your phone or you're not available, or whatever this is that you're doing where you could be like out of reach. Hermit's kind of like do not disturb mode because you're concentrated on figuring something out. So there's something that you're looking for the answer, and so it's kind of like, don't bother me right now, I'm busy, I'm trying to figure this out. So this is you sort of like in your cave looking for the answers. It looks like while you're in the process of doing that, I'm seeing information is going to be finding you, but this seems like it's coming from a place other than where you may be looking for it. Like you could be over here doing your thing and it's like mail arrives or a message arrives or information comes through, but I'm getting that like this thing finds you and it feels like it's coming from a different spot than where you were looking. But you can't miss this because it's coming like directly to you, it's being delivered directly to you. It's like that sort of thing. And it seems to like this may aid you with whatever it is that you have going on. Like it would be in harmonic flow with what this is, what current agenda this is that you have. So you were like already on a mission to seek something. Whatever this is, it gets to you at like the perfect time, and even if there are hoops that it has to go through, I'm seeing it come like right to you. It's like, it's reminding me of in Harry Potter actually. It's like you're in the house alone and like you have your phone off or like your battery died or whatever, and so you think that like nothing can disturb you, and then like the mail comes like through the fireplace and is delivered. It's like that sort of thing where whatever this is, whatever like barricades you may have because you think you need that time alone, which you're spending this time and it feels like these boundaries that you may have because you're like, I'm over here trying to do something. This thing is somehow able to get through. So I don't know how exactly it happens, but it's kind of like this, whatever protection this is that you have around, so it's not disturbing your process of what you're doing here. This thing makes it through, but it's because it's allowed to be coming through because it coincides with what you're doing. So in a moment you can be like, how did this mail show up? Or like, how did this, whatever it is that's showing up for you, show up? But it's like, it was meant to be in there too. So it was meant to surpass whatever this like protective barrier was that you had, because it's like aligned with the flow of what's going on inside. So it's like that type of thing that's happening. Yes. This would be very much aligned with what you're doing. It's coming from, I'm getting something about a power source, but I'm seeing like an actually empowered source. So whomever this is that you're getting information from, or like whatever the source of this, I'm seeing it be the Empress. So that's something where that's like a good place to be getting your information or getting these answers from or getting the clarity from, whatever this is that it's coming from. This is a source that you can trust. This is like a high vibrational thing to have the Empress here. That's why it could make it through like, I'm seeing this as being some metaphorical barrier that you have. This is why it's able to come through, because it's like an aligned like match. It's like a frequency match. It's like a high vibrational thing that I'm seeing here. Feels even like you called this in some way. But you could have felt perplexed as to how this found you. Something is changing. It's aligned with something that you want. It looks like you're finding your way through a shift that's happening. I'm seeing the Death card and I'm seeing Two of Pentacles. So this is you sort of adjusting as things are moving around. I'm hearing that it's at the heart of what you want. Ooh, Six of Cups. Death card, Two of Pentacles, Six of Cups. Death card is renewal, it's transformation, it's things being rejuvenated even, but more than anything, it's about cutting off the dead leaves so the rest of things can grow properly and the energy can go to where the growth is actually happening, so things can evolve, so things can change, so there can be a progression. In the midst of something that seems to be going through a bit of a transformation currently, there's like a shift that's happening. It seems like you're balancing that, like the changes and the growth and the expansion. That's also being balanced with the Six of Cups, which is connected with familiarity, which is connected with maybe what you still want to hold on to. So it's like all that remains as you're going through this. So you have these things, because Death card is like, what are we putting an end to, and what are we no longer going to revisit? What have we actually outgrown, or what is overgrown, and what are we shedding? And Six of Cups can be, what do I not want to shed? What is going to remain consistent? What is going to persist through these changes? And having this here, this is you like finding your way through that. So it's like, what is meant to still stay through all of this? Like, let's just use an example. Let's say that you're going through some type of process right now where you feel like you're changing or like ascending in some way, or evolving spiritually, psychologically, and you're looking at the people that you hang out with. You can be like, who of these people do I feel like are still a vibrational match for me, and sort of where I'm growing into and what feels aligned, versus what may I actually be releasing or outgrowing. So this is like, instead of writing everything off as you're going through this change, it's about looking and seeing like, do you want certain things to remain? And it seems like you may want certain things to remain, having the Six of Cups. So Six of Cups is like, what do I feel good about, like keeping or holding on to, or what still belongs here as the shutting is happening. So like, what am I going to, what aspects of this am I going to keep? And it's about keeping the parts that you actually want. So nothing is staying out of obligation. That's all going to be stripped. It's just the stuff that you feel like is still relevant. So this feels like a reminder that you don't need to get rid of, just because you're going through changes or you're going through a transition, that doesn't mean everything has to go. It's about using your discernment and being like, but what parts actually are going, or what parts are actually being shed, versus what is going to be sticking around. And this can also too be looking into things and being like, what parts do I maybe feel nostalgic about but that need to be left in the past, versus what's actually like growing alongside with me that's meant to be part of what I have going on right now. So it's very much this like weeding out process that's happening currently as you move through this. This can also be like prioritizing growth and change, and also balancing that with again, like this stuff from your past or like your current life that you still want to be holding on to. And this can be in one area of your life. It doesn't have to be your life on a whole. It can be. But usually when something like this is happening, a shift like this is happening, there are certain parts of areas of your life that may be more highlighted than others, where this may feel like more relevant for that this is going to be applied to. It's definitely, things are definitely working out. Some of you too, you're dealing with just your own mental space and learning how to work through that. I'm seeing these investments are taking time, it's taking patience, it's taking watering. I'm hearing the word Lex, L-E-X. That's what it sounds like. I'm getting something about diamonds actually, or like stones, gems, something like that, something valuable. Movement, travel. Hermit and Ten of Wands can be you like doing something on your own but feeling like you're drowning a little bit. So that's why whatever this was, this thing that came through the chimney to come find you, that got through whatever barrier this was that you had set up, it was meant to come through. Because what I'm seeing is that you could have taken something on and been like, I feel like I'm at a part where my head is going under now and I'm seeing something come through like right when you need it to. It's right when you get to that point where you're like, I think I'm gonna drop it all. Or I think I'm like completely submerged now. It's like something comes through and like grabs you out. That's what I'm seeing happening here. So things are actually, the timing of this will feel uncanny to you because it's really that moment where you're like, this is it. This is it. It's happening. Like no one's gonna save me. It's that moment, but it feels like something that comes from the outside in some way you would perceive this. Because as I said before, it's like you think that you got this in the bag, or at least enough to be confident to set up whatever metaphorical barrier this is that you have. You know, it's like you lock the doors or do whatever, and I'm seeing this thing comes through right when you need it. I'm getting this be like divinely orchestrated how this happens. Because I do see you trying to do something on your own here, and that may have even been what was being encouraged, or you were like, for some reason, I'm seeing you be like a little lone wolf over here in this segment, like in this chapter. Right when it feels like it's too much, I'm seeing something pierce that, and it creates an opening. It's like exactly what needed to happen, but it only happens when you're like right as you're going under. That's when I'm seeing this occurs for you. And you may have felt like you were going to be like a goner to this process if this thing didn't come through right when it did. But I'm seeing it be exactly when it's supposed to happen. But you could have even surrendered to this and been like, okay, like I'm about to be submerged. This is really it for me. And then that thing comes through. So it may be too when you're throwing your hands up already. So you may have like surrendered to something completely. And then this thing comes through and pulls you back up. Some of you, it's something that your guides send your way. I think that a process maybe began to, it was becoming too complicated to the point where you were like, I don't know if I can do this on my own. I don't know if I can handle this on my own. Something like that. Whatever this is that comes through, it gives you a choice. And maybe one that you didn't have before, maybe something that you didn't see before as an option. For some of you, I'm hearing that it's going to help you like through or out of a pickle. Funny. You may feel it's a difficult time to have to do this because you're like, I already have so much going on, and now it's like you have to make a decision, but you may feel like your mind is elsewhere when this is happening, but it feels like it's pressing, like it needs to be done. Like you don't have time for things to calm down. You need to do this now. It's like that. So there's this moment of needing to think on your feet. This happens when you get like pulled out. I'm seeing that's when this happens. Following the flow of your vision. There's going to be a pathway that feels like the right path. The one that you know in a purposeful way that you're connected with. But it may be like the path less followed or something difficult to do, like a challenge to go in that direction. But it seems like that's really the way to go here. But that may be the more difficult choice. Okay, here it is. How committed are you to what you want? I think too, you had a way of doing things before that is now shifting because you're shifting. Like something has happened. It definitely feels like a spiritual shift that's going on for you, but it's impacting like your value system in some way. Or even how you were perceiving things, but from a more philosophical approach or like a spiritual approach. This decision that needs to be made, it seems like it's something that can come into play when you're making this choice. I'm seeing the Hierophant be here. So this can be really what you believe is the right way to do this. Because when we have the Hierophant becoming involved, it's sort of like there's something happening, it feels stressful. You don't have time for things to calm down because you have to do something here. Like you have to make up your mind about something. And to have the Hierophant, it can be about a commitment, but more than anything, this is about like whether or not you're going to follow your perceived code that you've developed. Because the Hierophant can be this like higher code that we have that's like our moral code, or like our code that's aligned with our assigned belief system. And I'm seeing it's also too connected with something that you want as well. So this can be like what you're signing on for, what you're committing to play an active role in is what I'm hearing. So maybe there's a part that you're going to be playing. I was seeing the Devil wanting to pop out. Maybe you don't want something anymore. You can feel like something was the old way for you and that it no longer aligns anymore because of a change that you're going through. Like something was feeling stuffy. You can also be like something you were like told to believe in something, or you were told to do something a certain way and you don't want to be doing it like that anymore because you feel like it doesn't align. Like this can be an old part of you that was like, when I did align with that belief system, or when I did align with those values, this was what I wanted. But now that the like origins of that are shifting and evolving and changing, that means that I don't want that anymore. I want something different that aligns with where I am now. And I'm trying to figure that out. And it seems to figuring out like what part of this is something that's going to remain versus what doesn't anymore. For some of you also, I'm seeing you revisiting something from the past, but it may have been something that you had thought you left behind that you're actually going to be moving towards. Something, someone. It feels like a revisiting. But I'm seeing two decisions need to be made, because there can be some stuff that you've been working towards where you're like, I don't even want this anymore. It's that type of thing. Where something may be becoming too much. You get to the point where you're like, wait, I have a choice. I don't have to keep doing this. This may not be something that I want anymore. To have Taurus and to have Taurus, the Hierophant, and to also have Nine of Cups, this can be like these things that I'm holding on to, these values, because Taurus is fixed earth. It's like these habits and these patterns and these values that I have and these beliefs that I have and these opinions that I have that I've been holding on to. They may actually, I may have been telling myself that this is something that I want. I may not want this anymore. I may not want to do this anymore. Let's clarify. You may be reevaluating what makes you happy as well. But before, you could have been telling yourself, like, when I believe in this, this is the thing that I believe is going to make me happy. This is what I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. Now you could be getting to a point where something has changed. For some of you, I'm seeing something about a shock with the Death card. But it is something that actually clarified what you wanted. But that means, too, that you have to evaluate what aligns with that and what no longer aligns with that. So whatever this was that happened with the Death card, I'm seeing this be significant. It would be something challenging to move through because it requires surrender and shedding to happen. However, it very much reveals to you and clarifies what you do want. So that's not a question any longer. But what happens then in that moment of that being clarified for you is that you have to then take this thing that you're like, okay, I see it clearly what I want now. Now what's going on around me? What am I currently participating in, or what have I assigned myself to do that aligns with that versus what doesn't? And then needing to move out of those spaces that no longer align, even though some things will still align, but some things don't anymore. It's like these dreams that are no longer your dreams anymore. These desires, these wishes that you had before that you're like, I don't want that anymore. That's not the thing for me anymore. Even if I did achieve that, it's not going to be satisfying for me because it's not something that my heart is like calling me towards or hearing the call for. So this is like a resonant adjustment that's happening. Some of you too, surprisingly enough, there were certain things that you thought that you outgrew that you're actually getting back in touch with. So this is a revisiting of something. So this can be like, I was working on this thing, or I was connecting with this person and then I wasn't anymore, and now I'm going back into it. I'm going to reconnect with this thing anymore. I'm going to reconnect with this thing again. I'm going to reconnect with this person again. It can be that sort of thing where you thought like you could have even outgrown it some way or like gotten separated, and now there's going to be like a deliberate, conscious like going back into it. But I'm seeing it be you're moving forward, and also something is going to be stuff from the past is going to be like mixed into what it is that you have going on. It's going to be like moving back to somewhere that you used to live. But what this would be that you would be moving towards, it would be something that feels good to reconnect with. So this would even feel like a relief to reconnect with this. So it wouldn't be something where it would be something that would feel nice to reconnect with. And it's something that you're familiar with simultaneously. But you could have been doing things a certain way and like holding yourself to a certain standard because that was aligned with your belief system before. But because something is changing, I'm getting something like, it's like an earthquake or something I'm seeing energetically happen, like something shifted. It was one way and then there was shifting that happened, like this tectonic type of energy, and then I'm seeing something shake into place or like shift into place. And you could have been feeling lost in this realm before where you were like, I don't know what I want, or I feel disconnected within the heart space. Like I'm not getting a feel for what is lighting me up, or like what my heart is singing for. Like whatever that was, there was something going on that it's like something just needed to shift or like be shaken like into place, and now it finally is sitting where it's supposed to. And so you feel reconnected with that part of yourself that's like deeply driven by the heart space, but it was something that wasn't happening before for you, but now it is. So whatever this grand shifting is that happened, I'm seeing it be very, very important to this whole process. But it's bringing you back around a way that you may not have expected to go, but it's something that feels pleasant to revisit. Some of you, I'm seeing a conversation that you're having with an old friend, and that may be something that you end up investing in. Take that as you will too, because like an old friend, like that doesn't have to be literal. It can be for some of you, but for others of you that has a different meaning. Some of you, there's stuff about ancestry that you're connecting with as well. That may also hold a different meaning. Why? There's something that you want to go towards. What's the conflict though? There's opportunity. Conflict, why? Conflict because of having stepped away from something, wanting to step back towards it. That type of conflict. What's this Five of Wands? You know where to go. You also know like what's no longer working. Some of you got sold on a dream, or like you sold yourself on a dream that no longer aligns, and you know that. And this is about continuing to move forward. But I feel strongly like someone or something told you that you wanted this thing, because we have the Hierophant here. So it's like when you were in that mode of believing those things and certain stuff being valuable to you, like of value to you, you may have thought that you wanted certain things, but now you don't want those things anymore because you're not aligned with that belief system. You're like in a different vibration now. So you may think that you're feeling conflict coming up because there's this part of you that you know, Eight of Cups, it's time for you to move forward. Eight of Cups, how you know that it's time for you to move forward and keep moving is that whatever you feel that you're sticking around for, you don't feel connected to it anymore in that way that brought you to it in the first place. So it no longer feels that like resonant match for you anymore inside. So this is something you feel within your heart space. So you know that you're meant to go towards what is calling you. For some of you though, I'm seeing that it's something that you've connected with before that you're going to be reconnecting, or it's like reminiscent of that sort of thing. The only reason that you're feeling conflict is because of you getting like messed up mentally. I'm seeing the Seven of Swords here. This is you not trusting yourself. This is you being like, this part of you that's like, this is empty now for me. I need to keep moving. And then you're feeling conflicted about it. Why? Not because you don't know that and you don't want to move forward. It's because of stuff going on mentally that's trying to take you in the opposite direction. But these are like thoughts. This is you sabotaging you moving towards what you're aligning with and staying somewhere that you're not meant to be any longer. It's that part of you that's trying to avoid the necessary change that's happening. Because I'm seeing too, for some of you, you feel stressed out because it's going to land on you that you have to be like the creator of your life and be like painting on the canvas. And some of you are feeling overwhelmed at like all of the power imbued within you. That you would be imbued by with this shift, this change. So it can be a moment where it's like, I'm the architect. Like nobody else is going to build it for me. I have to be the one to do that. But that's also the beauty of it too, that you get to be the one to have total say within this. But you may feel very comfortable with what you're familiar with, even though you know that it's not really aligned anymore. So it's sort of that, do I stay somewhere where it's uncomfortably comfortable because I'm familiar with it? Taurus. What am I familiar with doing? This is my routine. This is what I wanted to be doing before back then. It's like at a point in time, this did definitely align, this thing that you had going on, but you know that it doesn't anymore. You know for sure. You know that it's not what you want. So that's why you're supposed to keep moving. But I'm seeing, again, you're moving towards reconnecting with something that you got away from, it feels. Something that at the time, it may not have aligned, but now it's in alignment again for you. The only reason that you're feeling conflict is because of being intimidated about change and the necessary transformation. So that's why when you reflect, you feel conflicted. I think too that you're also feeling overwhelmed by like what was, and you keeping yourself in that past space, because it's like vibrationally you're not a match for it anymore, but you're trying to stay somewhere. It's like you're shedding and you keep trying to put it back on, but it's like not working, and it just is getting more and more tattered, and it's because you're meant to keep moving, but there's this part of you that may be like, even though you know it doesn't like fit anymore and you have like a whole new outfit already that you're wearing, it's like still trying to fit back in something, but you could even feel like an imposter at this point because you know you're supposed to keep moving because it doesn't fit anymore. It's like it's not authentic. But fear may be driving some of this, because that's what I'm seeing the conflict be connected with. It's like this assigned like commitment and loyalty to the past stuff that you've outgrown now at this point. Because I'm seeing your guides are like, you're meant to be prioritizing this continuation of you moving forward. But I'm seeing you feel conflicted because you're like, but what about this thing that I do every day? Or what about this thing that I'm so familiar with? But you feel like you're really stuck within that. I'm getting such a big focus, even though there's other energy here. I'm seeing such a focus on Taurus. Those of you that have strong Taurus placements, you are going to feel this. Because it can be this desire to like hold on to what you know, to hold on to the patterns of what you know. I'm also seeing Virgo here too. With the energy of Virgo, it's like you think about it and think about it and think about it. What about like this? What about like that? And then you're not doing anything. Because Virgo is notorious for overthinking. Like Virgo is great at editing things, but doesn't know when to stop and move forward. Sometimes. Within the shadow of Virgo. Because of the mutable energy. So you can be in a space where you're pondering, but you just feel stuck in like the brainstorming or thinking space, and you're not taking action. And to have Venus and to have Taurus here, it's like, I like what's comfortable. I like what's familiar. Even though I know that I'm not reaching my potential, I like this. And then you have Taurus opposing Scorpio here. They're sister signs. Yeah. They're like opposing one another. Taurus is like, what do I hold on to and gather and collect that I'm familiar with? And then the end of Scorpio is about like shedding and releasing so you can keep growing and not get stuck into, it's like laying on the bed in the same spot, and it's like you're sinking in like further and further and further to the point where you're going to get down in that hole and not be able to dig yourself out of it. Which for some of you, you're even feeling like you're in that spot now. This is meant to be pulling you up out of that so you can keep going. And it's saying you have a decision to make. But it may have been something that you weren't seeing. And now you're at this point where you're like, wait, I do have a choice. And that's really the whole point of all of this, is showing you that whether you stay where you are or you are like, nope, I gotta keep moving with this. I need to keep moving forward. Either way, it's a choice. You avoiding making a choice is still making a choice, and that's what's at the bottom of all of this. So it feels like it's highlighting that you would actively be choosing. If you avoid making a decision, you're actively choosing to stay within this, and that it is not by any means the only choice that you have. And you know what your heart is telling you as well. I'm seeing Virgo, I'm seeing Taurus, I'm seeing Scorpio, and I'm also seeing Venus here. You may also feel very uncomfortable with change. It may feel very intimidating to you. Some of you too, like those of you that you have the Scorpio in your chart, you may be like, I make enough changes, like I'm just looking for the stability, but this is just a part of the cyclical nature. But that may be something that's coming up for you too, where you're feeling a bit of resistance to this as well. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.